Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Frontiers of Knowledge of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Whenever I drive down congested streets, especially when surrounded by the skyscrapers, I imagine that I would be able to fly over the congestion, fly between the skyscrapers and reach my destination. But I don't want a helicopter because helicopter needs something special, place, a location to land. So what I wish is that I take off from the road itself, VTOL, vertical takeoff landing. Like a helicopter, when the congestion is there, cross over the congestion, the crowds, find my way meandering through the skyscrapers, reach the parking place and then land down. This was what I used to think of. And just imagine, just this Tuesday, that's about 48 hours back, Boeing company conducted its first test on the flying car. And this flying car just puts my dream into reality. The passengers are carried over congested city streets. They dodge the skyscrapers. And this is really a peek into the future of urban transportation. Without hassles, without worries, and a desire to be able to take off and traverse congested streets. A prototype of this autonomous passenger air vehicle, as they call it, and I call it flying car, completed a controlled takeoff, hovering, landing during a test drive, a test flight conducted in Virginia. And it was watched by the military and the commercial jets, and everybody applauded. And one thing more, it's all electric driven, so there's no pollution. And the model is designed for autonomous flight with a range of about 50 miles to begin with. But with having more batteries, naturally the mileage, the distance to be traveled can be increased. And immediately Morgan Stanley analysts conducted estimates and they found that by 2040, that is the next 20 years, this flying car would be a 2.9 trillion industry. 2.9 trillion. And that is their hope. But the most pessimistic view taken by a couple of analysts was that it would be at least 615 billion. Even that's nothing to be sneezed at. So this new development increases our ability, not only as far as the urban transportation is concerned, but also if it combines with the architecture, maybe the parking places can be in the buildings themselves, the projection where the cars can be parked instead of a underground parking or a ground parking. Every apartment in a multi-story building can have a projection on different sides, if not every alternate one, so that there is no collision. So this new development definitely is a go-go. But along with that, there is another major development in Medicare, especially to begin with for diabetes, and that can be extended to other diseases as well. The biggest problem that the hospitals face normally when an accident takes place or when a major illness is blood. They need new blood. And the game changer in the new Medicare is not a new discovery or a therapy. It is system of human blood vessel, virtually identical to the current one in the human body, which transports blood through the body. And this is for the first time that blood has been grown in a lab. And already it has been tested in diabetes treatment as a clinical trial. See, what happens is that when a person has diabetes, the blood vessels exhibit an abnormal thickening, which is called the basement membrane. And this thickening impairs the transfer of oxygen to the cells and tissues, which causes host of health problems ranging from kidney failure to blindness to heart attack to stroke. So basically it is not the sugar level, but the inability of the oxygen to reach cells and tissues. So in an article which I saw in Nature, the University of British Columbia in Canada has done a human service to the humanity. They are able to coax the stem cells into growing into human blood. So the transfer of the stem cells into human blood vessels, and that vessel they call organoid. This is a three-dimensional lab-grown cellular system that mimics the characters of the human organs. So then these lab-grown blood vessels are placed in a petri dish, and that is designed to mimic a diabetic environment. When that was done, it was found that the basement membrane thickened in a way that was similar to the thickening of the basement membrane in the diabetic patients. And then they hunted for a chemical compound that could prevent this thickening. And they found it. They call it inhibitor of enzyme Y secretase. So this is a major achievement. But then, is it only confined to the treatment of diabetes? According to the researcher Joseph Penninger, there are potentials for lab-grown blood vessels far beyond diabetes. And he says that these stem cells converted into blood in a petri dish are a game changer because every single organ in our human body is linked with the circulatory system. And once the circulatory system can be manipulated to ensure sufficient supply of oxygen or of those micronutrients which lead to the disease, they may not be far off when all the diseases can be cured in a manner without using medicines, drugs, which have huge, immense side effects. As a matter of fact, there is a possibility to unravel the causes and treatments of a variety of vascular diseases. And not only vascular, but Alzheimer, cardiovascular, wound healing, strokes, cancer, and of course, diabetes. It's all the more important in case of conflict and war, where blood is such a short supply, so the human blood grown in the labs would have a longer shelf life. And according to the researchers, they are also finding out the possibility of keeping it without refrigeration, without converting it into plasma. Now, to maintain the shelf life of human blood, is converted into plasma. So the new development, as I said, is a game changer and hold not a ray of hope, but a dazzling light of hope for the people suffering from the various diseases. When would it be utilized is yet to be seen, because now the test would have to be conducted on a mass scale. And then some entrepreneur would have to take up the commercialization of the technology. and only then it would reach the end customer. But the way things are going on is definitely a positive sign and a welcome sign. And now your child falls sick. You can have fever. So what has happened? And this is the age of wearables. So amber wave wristband has been developed. This amber wave wristband is nothing but a gadget to control your body temperature. You don't have to take medication. As a matter of fact, they say it's more in the shape of a personal air conditioning unit. And it uses a thermal electric module to act as a heater. So if you have fever, it can control it. And if you don't have fever, say you are feeling cold, or you are in a place like Canada or Arctic, where the temperature of minus 30, 40 is becoming a routine thing, then this wearable with a thermal electric module heats your body. So you don't have to put in parkas and heavy clothing. The manufacturers say that it can vary your body temperature up to 5 degrees. And then what they did it, they put it in cold environment and then in a hot tub. And both the times they could change the temperature up to 5 degrees, heat up or lower down. So this is the real use in the cold countries and in the hot countries. And 5 degrees is quite a sizable change as far as the heat or the cold is concerned. It can mean a difference between life and death. So this was exemplified. And Nick Queck, when he says that it's especially good in sub-zero in temperatures, because then you are warmed up and the danger of frostbite would not be there. It's especially good for the people who are going in for mountaineering, because their heavy luggage that they are lugging around would be reduced. And before we close down, one snippet. Again, the credit goes to Canada and again to British Columbia University. They have developed a prototype device that's instant infection detector. Instant. So if there's an infection in the body, it will detect instantly. And what normally happens is that when you have an infection, it takes 2 to 3 days for the incubation process to take place. And then by that time, your body's immune system is wrecked. So there's a massive improvement from 5 days to instant thing, and the patients instantly can be developed. Now what happens is, how does it work? This device sends microwave signals through the biological fluid sample and tracks that signal changes. How the signal changes, that are tracked. And that tells them. And the shift in the signal's amplitude and frequency can identify and quantify the infection and the bacteria in the human body. The moment such feedback is there, the doctors can treat infection rapidly and the people can be cured without any delay. So instant infection detector coupled with blood manufactured in lab and a wearable that controls your body temperature, they are going to make your life helpful. And then driving in a flying taxi, a combination of a car and a helicopter. Wow, this is really the onset of a brave new world. Thank you.